I've just finished rebuilding my Rolls-Royce Mansory edition, but now Mansory want it back. Mansory.
The automotive world has seen countless builders throw money at exotic cars, covering them in carbon fiber, oversized wheels, and aggressive body kits just to grab attention. But what makes Mat Armstrong different from Mansory is something money alone can't buy: authenticity. While Mansory transforms supercars into loud statements of wealth, Mat Armstrong takes wrecked, forgot machines that most people would abandon, and brings them back to life with his own hands. Every rebuild carries risk, frustration, and real emotion, making viewers feel connected to the journey instead of just admiring the final product. That's the one thing Mat does better than Mansory. He makes people care about the car, not just a price tag. Whether it's a destroyed Lamborghini, a flooded Ferrari, or a $1 million Bugatti that experts said could never return to the road, Mat turns mechanical disasters into comeback stories that millions can relate to. In a world obsessed with showing perfection, he built his reputation by showing every mistake, every setback, and every impossible challenge along the way. And that honesty is what truly separates him from the rest. People first started noticing Mat Armstrong because of the cars he bought: totaled supercars, burned exotics, flooded performance machines that insurance companies had already written off as hopeless. Most people looked at those vehicles and saw scrap metal worth selling for parts. But Mat saw opportunity, not just an opportunity to make money or gain views online, but an opportunity to prove something almost nobody else was willing to attempt. That mindset became the foundation of his entire career. While many automotive channels focus on showing luxury lifestyles, expensive dealerships, or perfect showroom cars, Mat built his audience by entering the messy side of the car world. The side filled with broken bolts, hidden damage, failed repairs, and moments where even experienced mechanics would walk away. That honesty immediately separated him from the rest of the industry. The reason people compare him to Mansory is obvious. Mansory is known for taking already expensive supercars and transforming them into extreme versions of themselves. Their builds are loud, aggressive, and designed to turn heads instantly. Gold carbon fiber, massive spoilers, unusual interiors, and outrageous styling have become their trademark. Their cars exist to dominate attention. But Mat Armstrong approaches cars from the opposite direction. He doesn't begin with perfection and try to make it louder. He begins with destruction and tries to restore life. That difference completely changes the emotional connection people have with the final result. When Mansory reveals a new project, people admire the craftsmanship, the luxury, and sometimes criticize the styling. But when Mat Armstrong reveals a completed rebuild, viewers feel something deeper because they watched the struggle behind it. They saw the sleepless nights, the missing parts, the wiring nightmares, the moments when nothing worked, and the constant pressure of potentially losing thousands of pounds on a failed project. His audience becomes emotionally invested because the process feels real. Every repaired panel and every successful engine start feels earned. One of the biggest reasons Mat became so successful is because he understands storytelling better than most creators in the automotive world. Many car channels simply showcase finished vehicles with cinematic shots and loud music. Mat, however, turns every rebuild into a story with tension, uncertainty, and payoff. The audience doesn't know if the car will actually survive. Sometimes even Mat himself isn't sure. That unpredictability creates excitement that polished luxury channels often cannot replicate. Viewers return not just to see a car, but to see whether the impossible challenge can actually be completed. His rebuilding projects also expose how complicated modern supercars truly are. Luxury brands present their vehicles as flawless pieces of engineering, but Mat's videos reveal the reality hidden underneath the body panels. Advanced electronics, impossible to reach components, complicated software systems, and shockingly expensive replacement parts become part of the story. When viewers see a tiny damaged sensor preventing a supercar from functioning, they realize how fragile these machines really are. That transparency fascinates audiences because it removes the mystery surrounding million-dollar vehicles. The Bugatti rebuild became one of the clearest examples of why Mat Armstrong captured the attention of millions around the world. A Bugatti is not just another supercar. It represents one of the highest levels of automotive engineering and exclusivity on the planet. Most people will never even sit inside one, let alone attempt to repair one themselves. When Mat acquired a heavily damaged Bugatti, Many believed the project would fail completely. Some thought it was simply too complex. Others believed the repair costs alone would destroy the project financially. Even experienced automotive experts questioned whether the car could ever return to the road properly. But that doubt became fuel for the entire series. Every challenge made the audience more invested. The process wasn't glamorous. Parts were difficult to source. Repairs became increasingly complicated. Problems continued appearing one after another. Yet that struggle is exactly what made the journey compelling. Viewers weren't watching a rich collector order custom modifications. They were watching someone fight against impossible odds using determination, creativity, and persistence. That creates a completely different kind of admiration. What truly separates Mat Armstrong from many automotive influencers is that he still feels accessible despite his growing success. His personality never feels overly manufactured or corporate. He jokes about mistakes, admits when he's confused, and openly shares setbacks instead of hiding them. That authenticity matters because modern audiences are becoming increasingly tired of artificial perfection online. Too many creators present lives that feel unrealistic and disconnected from normal people. Mat's videos, even when dealing with multi-million-dollar cars, still feel grounded because the emotional reactions remain genuine. Another major reason his audience connects with him is because he represents the dream many car enthusiasts secretly have. Almost every passionate car fan has looked at a damaged vehicle and wondered if they could rebuild it themselves. Mat turns that fantasy into reality on a massive scale. He shows that incredible machines are still mechanical objects that can be repaired, rebuilt, and understood with enough patience and effort. That inspires viewers because it transforms exotic cars from untouchable status symbols into engineering challenges that can actually be conquered. Meanwhile, companies like Mansory operate in a completely different space. Their work focuses heavily on exclusivity and visual impact. Their clients are often billionaires, celebrities, and collectors who want attention wherever they go. There's nothing wrong with that business model, but it naturally creates emotional distance between the cars and ordinary viewers. Most people can admire a Mansory build, but they can't relate to it personally. The cars feel like objects belonging to another world entirely. Mat Armstrong's projects feel different because the audience experiences every stage alongside him. They celebrate the victories because they witness the problems firsthand. A simple engine startup after months of repairs becomes more exciting than the reveal of a perfectly modified hypercar because viewers understand how much effort was required to reach that moment. That emotional investment is incredibly powerful in modern entertainment. His rise also reflects a larger shift happening across social media and online culture. Audiences increasingly value transparency over perfection. People want to see the process, not just the outcome. They want creators who show mistakes, frustrations, and uncertainty instead of pretending everything always goes smoothly. Mat built his reputation during exactly the right era because his content naturally delivers those qualities. Every rebuild contains real stakes and real consequences. Even the pacing of his videos contributes to their success. He understands how to maintain suspense without making it feel fake or exaggerated. Small discoveries become major turning points. Unexpected problems create tension naturally because the financial and technical risks are real. Unlike scripted television, viewers know these situations aren't carefully planned in advance. That realism keeps audiences emotionally connected throughout long rebuild series. There's also something deeply satisfying about watching broken things return to life. Humans naturally connect with restoration stories because they symbolize hope, resilience, and redemption. A destroyed supercar sitting in a salvage yard represents failure and loss. Watching it slowly transform back into a functioning masterpiece creates emotional satisfaction far beyond simple entertainment. Mat Armstrong has mastered that formula better than almost anyone else online. His success has even changed how many people view damaged exotic cars altogether. In the past, severely wrecked supercars were often seen as financial disasters impossible to recover from. But Mat demonstrated that with enough knowledge, determination, and creativity, even the most hopeless vehicles can sometimes be saved. That shift in perception fascinated audiences because it challenged assumptions about what's truly impossible in the automotive world. Another interesting part of his appeal is that he doesn't rely entirely on wealth to impress people. Many luxury automotive creators focus on constantly buying newer and more expensive cars. The excitement comes from the price tag itself. Mat's content works differently because the value comes from the challenge, not just the car's original cost. Sometimes the audience becomes more excited about a difficult repair than the actual vehicle being repaired. That's a rare achievement in automotive media. The contrast with Mansory becomes even clearer when you think about the emotional purpose behind their work. Mansory enhances exclusivity. Mat Armstrong creates connection. Mansory builds cars meant to stand above ordinary people. Mat rebuilds cars in a way that makes ordinary people feel part of the journey. One approach focuses on status. The other focuses on storytelling. That storytelling ability is ultimately what transformed Mat from a simple mechanic into one of the biggest automotive creators online. Millions of people who aren't even hardcore car enthusiasts now follow his projects because the videos function almost like documentaries or comeback stories. The cars become characters. The rebuilds become battles. And every completed project feels like a victory earned through persistence rather than purchased through money. S's influence continues growing. More creators are beginning to imitate elements of his formula. They attempt salvage rebuilds, show more behind-the-scenes struggles, and focus on longer narrative-driven projects. But authenticity is difficult to copy. Audiences can usually tell when someone is forcing drama for views versus genuinely facing unpredictable challenges. Mat Armstrong's biggest advantage remains the fact that his reactions feel real, because the stakes actually are real. That's why the comparison to Mansory will always reveal the biggest difference between them. Mansory creates spectacle. Mat Armstrong creates emotional investment. One sells luxury transformation. The other sells determination, risk, and the satisfaction of overcoming impossible odds. And in today's world, where audiences crave authenticity more than ever before, that difference matters more than carbon fiber, horsepower, or even price tags ever could. As Mat Armstrong's projects became bigger, another important change started happening. Even major car manufacturers began paying attention to him. That alone says a lot about the impact he created online. Traditionally, luxury automotive brands are extremely protective of their image. Companies spend millions making their vehicles appear flawless, exclusive, and almost untouchable. The last thing they usually want is someone on YouTube exposing how difficult and expensive these machines are to repair. Yet despite that risk, Mat's audience continued growing because viewers appreciated seeing the reality behind the badge. That reality is often shocking. A tiny component hidden deep inside a supercar can cost more than an ordinary family car. Simple repairs sometimes require removing entire sections of the vehicle. Electronics can become so complicated that one damaged wire disables half the system. For average viewers, those discoveries are fascinating because they reveal the hidden side of ownership that wealthy buyers rarely discuss publicly. Mat Armstrong turned those hidden struggles into entertainment without losing the excitement that makes exotic cars special in the first place. What makes his videos even more impressive is that he constantly operates under pressure. Every project carries huge financial risks. One mistake during a rebuild could destroy thousands of pounds instantly. A hidden issue inside the engine or transmission could completely change the economics of the project overnight. When viewers watch him dismantle a rare supercar, they understand the pressure involved. That tension creates genuine suspense because failure is always possible. That's another area where his content differs massively from companies like Mansory. Mansory operates with predictability. Their cars begin in excellent condition, supported by massive budgets, professional teams, and access to factory-level resources. The outcome is never really in doubt. People already know the car will eventually appear polished and complete. With Mat Armstrong, uncertainty is part of the entertainment itself. The audience watches because they genuinely don't know whether the project can be finished successfully. Over time, viewers also became attached to Mat's personality beyond the cars themselves. He doesn't behave like a distant celebrity or untouchable expert. He reacts emotionally when problems appear. He laughs at mistakes. Sometimes he gets frustrated, exhausted, or overwhelmed, and he doesn't hide those moments from the camera. That openness creates trust with the audience. Instead of feeling like they're watching a corporate production, viewers feel like they're following someone on a real journey. The internet has changed dramatically over the past decade. Audiences used to admire perfection above everything else. Social media rewarded flawless lifestyles, expensive purchases, and carefully controlled images. But now many people are becoming tired of content that feels fake or overly polished. They want honesty. They want creators who show the difficult parts instead of pretending success comes easily. Mat Armstrong's rise reflects that cultural shift perfectly. His channel succeeds because it embraces imperfection instead of hiding it. Another reason people connect so strongly with his projects is because they represent resilience. Every damaged car becomes symbolic in a way. A wrecked supercar sitting destroyed in a salvage yard looks like something beyond repair. Most people would consider it finished forever. Watching that same machine slowly return to life becomes strangely emotional because it represents persistence against impossible odds. Viewers aren't just watching metal get repaired. They're watching failure transformed into success step by step. That emotional storytelling becomes even stronger during the hardest moments in his rebuilds. Sometimes projects reach points where continuing no longer makes financial sense. Parts become unavailable. Costs spiral out of control. Unexpected damage appears. At those moments, viewers become deeply invested because they understand a challenge has become real. The audience starts rooting for the project, almost like fans supporting an underdog sports team. That level of emotional engagement is extremely rare in automotive content. Mat also changed how younger audiences view mechanics and engineering. For years, traditional car repair content often felt technical, slow, or targeted only toward experienced enthusiasts. Mat made rebuilding exciting